welcome to another episode of What's Doing. Today we're here with a remarkable young guy, Billy Stern. He started a newspaper out in Montauk, the Ditch Weekly. Tell us, why'd you start a newspaper?
Well, I wanted to start a business in Montauk. I'm always there in the summer. I didn't know what necessarily I wanted to do. Once I started researching and looking into what could be available and what wasn't already happening in Montauk, I noticed that there wasn't a weekly newspaper. So I really just wanted to do that. I wanted to make some money and I wanted to start something big, and that's what I was able to do.
You're a smart guy, because my father said anybody who gets into the business who doesn't want to make money is wasting their time. You had a whole staff. Tell me about what kind of teams you put together.
This was our second summer in operation. Over the winter, I put together a team of about 20 to 25 people, most of them from the local high school and then the high school in Sac Harbor as well. But then I also hired a couple kids from the city just for like editing and like writing purposes like that. But we did very well this summer. Our revenue was a lot more than the previous summer, but the profits were close to the same just because we had a lot more expenses. We're turning a big profit, so.
So you got a writing staff there. You sent everybody out to cover stories. What's that like? Did you have a press pass? Did the kids have press passes?
So we never got official press passes, but we printed out fake ones so kids could use them and try to get into places. I have all these kids and everyone is kind of interested in their own thing. Like I have one kid who likes to do sports, one kid who might be more interested in art. So you got to just make sure you're giving like the right material to the right people so that they're interested in what they're writing and that they give them the highest quality of writing possible. Most of it was just like community events and like things that had either already happened or were upcoming. So it was the journalism that was being done was kids reaching out to like the planners of these events, getting a few quotes from them, putting together an article talking about what it was in the past and what it will be this year, and that's usually how the articles went.
You know, my father always said journalism is printing what someone else does not want printed. Everything else is public relations. Did you ever have any conflicts out there? Like any big story, like covering a murder? Any kids have to go to something you'd say, oh, wow?
There was talk of a murder, but it ended up being just an overdose in Montauk. Although we had some pretty big stories. Probably our most controversial article was the across New York, Kathy Hochul put in this plan that banned cell phones in schools. So I actually wrote that along with one of our other writers. And I don't know if we were so critical of Kathy Hochul, but there was definitely some mixed opinions on that one.
Were people telling you you're doing a good job? I mean, most people say, who the hell wants to start a newspaper? Who would even bother? No one wants to read them.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're bringing back print. That's what we're doing. I mean, every day people tell me I'm doing a good job, and I get messages all the time, DMs on Instagram from people who from all over the country. And after that New York Times article came out about us, all over the world, everyone tells us how much they love the paper. So I think we're doing a good job.
Why, do you think print media matters?
I think it 100% matters for local communities as well. I mean, large news corporations are good for covering national news, but they take away from the small stories that happen in communities. Everyone needs to be able to know what's going on in their town, and we do that.
Did like the mainstream media, did you ever get involved with them and they actually look at you guys like your jokes? I mean, did you get any respect?
I think they have a lot of respect for us, specifically because we're kids. Like we got involved with a lot of companies who wanted to come out and report on us, and they were all just super respectful towards us. They were saying at their age they weren't doing things like this.
Are you doing it again next year?
I might like switch it up. So the last 2 years I've done a 10-issue newspaper. Might do maybe even a magazine or something like that.
President Trump, not to slam him in any way, but he calls the media fake media. He says journalism's dead. It doesn't matter. What do you think? Does that bother you?
Journalism, of course, matters. It's important that everyone knows the facts, everyone knows the truth, and everyone gets an unbiased source. No media is unbiased. I think everyone is pretty confident in that, but it's important that you read multiple sources and you get all the opinions so you know what's true and what's fake.
You get a lot of other young people saying, oh, wow, I want to do this.
I've had kids reach out from San Francisco, from Dallas, from Miami, all wanting to start their own newspapers in their own cities. I've been, I think, kind of like an inspiration for these kids, so it's really cool.
What do you think drives you or drives them?
Yeah, I think the motivation is just to do something that no one's ever done before. No kids have ever started a print newspaper in New York. I don't know how many times it's happened in the entire United States. I mean, the things that we do in Montauk, people look at us like we're different. Also, just the fact that we're able to turn a profit and make money out of this and do it ourselves. Everyone thinks like, oh, we must have like parents supporting us through this. Like, we do this all ourselves.
What do you tell the reporters? You get them out there doing the legwork, telling them they got to hit the streets?
From Morning Brew, good work. They came out us and did our paper route with us.
You did the paper route. How do you do it? You guys just jump in the car and deliver it?
Well, I have a lot of kids usually go on bikes. The way I do it is I usually get my grandpa to drive me, and he just drives me around and drops off all the papers with me.
When people see you coming, they cheer you on because nobody's reading papers. What you're doing is like, I think it's spectacular. That's why I wanted to say hello to you. My father would tell me it's a dying racket, and here you come contradicting it.
One of the also reasons I started was the summer before I started in 2023. I would walk down the beach and I would sell lemonade. And when I would do that, I would see all these people just staring at their phones and at their computers and their laptops. This is like your free time to be on the beach and you're staring at your computer. So, just to get people off of that is succeeding in itself.
This summer, there was that big murder out there. Did you send a reporter, a kid to cover that?
So I had one kid write a whole research on it, and then it came out in like within 24 hours that it was an overdose. So we didn't do it.
The reporter went to the scene of the crime, a kid?
Yep. And he interviewed all of the people at the marina.
Well, that's a heavy topic for a young kid without a press pass. I mean, how did you guys feel about that? Were you guys like, oh, wow?
When we thought it was a murder at first, it was shocking just to know that could happen in your community. Anything that happens in our community, regardless if it's in New York Times or New York Post, we have to cover it.
None of your kids are intimidated standing there against, news crews and reporters with press passes, pushing you away to get a story? How aggressive do you guys get?
Yeah, we get aggressive. I mean, in May, this wasn't really a story, but Tom Brady came out to East Hampton and did this he did this big event for his store he was opening up, and he was walking down the street like so hundreds of people are surrounding him and like every other reporters are pushing each other, and I was like right next to him asking him questions, and all these reporters were like trying to get in front of me, but like you got to hold your own out there.
You do. My father always said, not all news is blood and guts, though. So, like, what was the most fun you have when you're doing it? So one thing you say, well, I love this.
The most fun I have is when I get to go with some of my friends to these events. So really, like the community just rallies behind us and like gives us like, so many cool opportunities.
Like, you young writers, like, are they talking about like staying in the business, not leaving it? They want to be like writers. They want to keep doing it.
I would say a good portion of our team is definitely into journalism. I think a lot of the other kids are just, seeing if they like it, covering topics that they want to, personally do or personally are involved in. So many different aspects of the paper. I mean, we have a ad sales department and some kids are just super into ad sales. So
yeah, how do you do it? How's your schedule work like that? You guys just send everybody out, you build a schedule each week, and you're always on the phone, are you digging, you're looking? How do you come up with building the whole paper?
usually I have a few kids that I'll sign articles to. And then there's usually about one or two kids that are in charge of a column each week for their own. But then I'm in charge of all the other stuff. So I have to make sure that all the ads are in. I have like a lineup. It's on a Google Doc and it's each week and it's organized with all the ads and then all the articles and columns. And it's all color coded to make sure that everyone gets their stuff in on time.
Yeah, for a deadline. Do they make the deadlines?
Oh, yeah. And like, some kids don't follow him and that's just like, it puts a lot of stress on other people. So, and I'm in charge of doing the layout. I do it in InDesign. And that's what like keeps me up at late at night because I have to wait until like the last minute to get all these kids' articles in, and then I'm putting them in at like 4 a.m. in the morning, and the sun is rising, and I'm still working.
And you say you made money, so you paid, you sell the paper, or you get it through your advertising. Most papers claim they can't get advertising, so you must be doing some really yeoman-like work.
Yeah. I mean, the paper's free, and it'll always be free as long as we do a newspaper. But the advertising is what really makes us our money. We also sold hats this year. I got this little 10-year-old kid named Luca. He was in charge of selling all the hats. And he would walk up and down the beach with a weekly tote bag and he would just sell them to people for $20 a pop. And he must have sold 150 hats this summer. And then I had like a home delivery service that we put in where people would pay $50 and they'd get it every week to their house, to their front door delivered. So that was new this summer as well.
You get like ever a special call, somebody calling and saying, "Hey, Billy, you did something really special."
I get emails a lot that are just like some of them are like wild and like people who are just out of their mind, but some of them are like really cool like that. One I remember recently was there was this kid who bought a hat from us, like a little kid, and he lost his hat after a few days, and he loved this hat. He wore it everywhere. So the mom, and we'd already sold out at that point. So the mom called me and she was asking me if we were going to be able to get her a new hat. So I gave her like my hat. So the kid was, he got that one. He hasn't lost it. Hopefully he won't.
you, you'll have to design a new hat for next summer.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And like the big shots in the community, the town, the mayor, all the people, the cops, they all know you. I mean, it's
Oh, yeah.
giving you your own fanfare.
Oh yeah, I mean everyone knows me. Like I'll play golf with my friends. I'll get paired with some random guy and I say, "Your kid does the newspaper." There was this girl who like added me on Snapchat last week, and she texted me and she said like, "I live in Dallas, Texas, and I did a research project on your newspaper for in school."
My father said people say print is dead. What do you tell them?
Honestly, he's probably right. For the most part, print is dead, but we're trying to bring it back. I mean, there's always going to be the people who love to read their newspapers in the morning for coffee, but I think that generation is dying. Probably going to go away in the future, is what I'm guessing.
Or you can go online with it. He
But
said newspapers will die of boredom before they die of competition. How do you keep it, moving, snapping, energized?
I look at any of the local newspapers, and it's just you'll have 2 pages of just black and white words, and that's no one wants to read that. No one wants to sit there and stare at just nothingness. So I like to put like a lot of like colorful pictures that the kids take, and a lot of graphics, cartoons, just things that are just gonna draw people in. You're reading on the. It's only 8 pages, so you can like read it like this. You'd be on the beach, read it quickly. A nice read. There's all these like a million different columns, and each of them is super small and has like its own fun part of it to do that. And the articles, I mean, tops they're 750 words at max. You can read it in like a few minutes, and it's.
Absolutely. That's a column fast, 800 words. That's what my father wrote. Let me ask you, do you ever get any harsh criticism?
I wouldn't say harsh criticism, but I get criticism. This isn't criticism, but I had one email from this woman I remember at the beginning of the summer saying how she read in our police blotter that there was a coyote sighting in like a campground that she was staying in Montauk, and she was worried that it was going to eat her kid. So I mean, it's just people like that who are like, don't know what they're doing. They come out from the city and they like at the end of the world when there's a little animal.
Are you pretty hard on your staff to make sure everybody's done the legwork?
Me and my partners have to do a lot of the work, but I make sure that everyone. I try to do it way out ahead of time so they don't have to have that problem. There's some things that are last minute, and then you really got to push these kids, and it's different because when you're with adults, they see you in the workplace, they yell at you, but then that's it. They go home. Like for me, I got to go to school the next day. These kids, so it's
Very interesting. But let me ask, how do you find the stories? How do you dig them up? I mean, you're always on the go, thinking about them, looking, reading.
I read a lot of the local papers and I get stories that way. But the way we kind of find our own original stories is through sometimes social media, but then also just like word spreading about a topic. Oh, I heard this is happening next week. I'm gonna call up this office, whatever, see what's going on, and then that's how you get a story going.
You get any exclusives? Somebody says we're just giving it to you.
Yeah, we do an interview every week, and I've done interviews with people who have never been interviewed before, and they turn out to be the most interesting people in the world. I mean, there's some real characters in Montauk that a lot of people don't know about unless they read our paper.
Is there one special one that always sticks with you? You say, "Wow, I'm proud I did that."
Yeah, there's this one guy. His name is Jim Devine. He's a Montaukett Native American. I think he's like low 70s, but he walks like every day, like 6 miles down the highway in the morning. And he's just like the most interesting person I've ever spoken to. He was like born on Long Island, and he went and taught in Queens, and now he like is back here. But I mean, this guy, he had so many words to say about the community and about the people who are coming out here. And I spoke to him for 30 minutes at the local library. It was amazing.
You're so young doing this. You're going to stay with it. So you put it to bed for the winter time and you start picking it up again in the spring or towards the summer, correct?
Yeah, I play football in the fall, and that usually takes up a lot of my time. But
What
then
position you playing?
I play quarterback.
Oh, wow. You're a real thinking man. No wonder.
I play at East Hampton High School.
East Hampton High School. You're a Bonacker, right?
Yeah, Bonacker. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a great thing. That's why we wanted to talk to you because when I first heard about it, and of course everybody jumped on it so fast, but it's like I guess it's an oh wow moment for people because no one respects the profession, really. It seems like people, oh, you're in newspapers, like, wow, that's not too good. But here you come with little stories. I mean, do you think that's special?
Course, it's special. I mean, we do have an Instagram. It's important that we are on social media just to draw a bigger crowd in than we would from just handing it out on the streets. But it's important that kids are interested in something that is not just on their phones. So it really is special over there.
Yeah, like the movie stars or anybody wanting to get a little thing in your paper so they can keep current with young people versus being with some stodgy other type of paper.
We've had some big brands do some ads with us. Like Selena Gomez's brand, Rare Beauty. They reached out. They sent us. They said they were gonna send us like a box of makeup for to give to like our girl team members to do like a video with. And I thought it was just gonna be like a little pouch or something that they could just do a quick thing. And they sent me like it was like a massive box of makeup, like filled to the brim. And it like I did like the math on it. It's probably $3,000 worth. I gave it to all my girl team members. I still have like a big box in my room. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, but
The girls must have loved that. That's good.
I mean, there was a cookie company, Levain Cookie. They sent us like a bunch of cookies too. I get like stuff like that all the time.
You see, you can have fun with it. I love listening to this because this is like the spirit of what it should be versus everybody's just condemning like newspapers, fake media, this or that. Because I don't think you seem like an honest young man to me. How important is integrity?
Integrity is extremely important. You have to be honest about what you're doing. There's been like a lot of times throughout the summer where I've had an opportunity to, play something off cheaply, to do something that is, like to not give the best effort, to not put my best foot forward. And you have to just make sure that that just doesn't happen. There's going to be thousands of people that read it every week. You can't mess around. Like, this is real stuff. So,
That's important to you. I admire that you said that because it's true. My father never dogged it. He didn't believe in making up anything.
mhm.
He saw something, he told it, and he wrote it with nervous energy. Do you see the kids like when they're writing? Like, are they all nervous? Like gotta really bang it out, and get it to you?
Some of them do. I usually let everyone do it from home because it's, I can't get these kids together in a newsroom every day. But during the spring we did like a weekly or bi-weekly meeting at in the newsroom. It's not really a newsroom. It was my mom's old office. She's a dermatologist. Once you put these kids in front of a camera, I get them to do like some of the press things, just like we're doing right now, and that's when they get really nervous.
So do you tell other young people?
Not just in like newspaper or media, but like I tell kids my age all the time, like just go out there and do something. Like if you want to start, if you're thinking about starting a club, just do it. Like there's no downside to this. You're young, you have time. Like when you're older, you're not gonna have this time, so you might as well just do it. If I hadn't started a newspaper, I would have started a different business, and it would have all been the same. And I think if I stopped doing the newspaper, I'll probably start something else because if I can do it, why wouldn't I do it?
Yeah, but you started a newspaper, and most people don't start newspapers because that's not an easy endeavor.
Yeah, of course not.
So you must have something in you that you like storytelling. So we hope you keep going. I'm sure you will. How much encouragement do you get from everybody?
Oh yeah, so much encouragement I get from they still have my papers up in the middle school. They show it to the kids every day. They put up this big billboard or like this big board, and it was all of these young people on it who had all like done amazing things. And right in the center was a photo of my team, and it was the newspaper, and it said like, just because you're young, like you can still do anything, and it was really cool.
I
Yeah.
think this is fantastic because you might be doing something single-handedly, bringing back people to read a little bit.
Oh
You
yeah.
said staring at a cell phone the whole time. That's not reading.
Nope.
The first time you got your paper and it came out and you held it and you saw it and it hit the streets, what'd that feel like?
I mean, it was amazing. I picked it up in the morning before school. This was May of 2024. And I brought it into school. I went classroom to classroom. I gave it to all the teachers. They were all so shocked. And I did the same thing this year in the high school. I think this year was a little bit less of that because, the first time it came out, it was like, oh my God, like I just put it in a newspaper and I worked and it made profit. But I think, I'm kind of losing that energy. But hopefully I can like bring it back with some new stuff.
No, now they just expect you to be great.
Yeah, a lot of expectations. Yeah.
That's hard every week showing up, being good, isn't it? Topping yourself.
People pay for advertisements every week well ahead of time. And I know that if I don't do my job, then these people are not getting their money's worth. So I have to keep going. It's not like I can just take a week off and sleep on it. I have to keep going.
Well, I admire that. I admire you said that. My father didn't take any holidays. He believed in newspapers and media and information. You just go to work. Anybody calling you, say, Billy, got a tip for you.
Yeah, I do. I get especially with the police blotter. People say like a lot of my friends call and they say, "Oh, there was this going on at the beach this morning," but I've gotten some real ones too that we've actually used, and not just for the police blotter, for articles as well. We have a police blotter. We don't have like a scanner, so we could do like breaking news, but we do like a blotter every week where we get all of the like all the police like records or all the police reports from like the previous weeks. And then I have one of my partners who puts them together and he writes like a little short thing for each one, and it's like super funny and everyone loves it. It's kind of like my partner Teddy, he has like a family member who uh has access to like all of those records. So and that's how we're able to get them. So I guess you could say we have a little relation, but I personally don't.
Did you get any people when you start to say hello to them, maybe back off from you, thinking that you might want to write something they don't want to be written about? You ever get any of that?
So not really so much, but the only time that happens is we do like a search the church every week where I go to the local church rummage sale with my partner Harry, and we find someone who found like a cool item. Usually we try to get a kid, but sometimes an adult will find a really cool item, and we'll ask them like, "Yeah, hey, can we take your photo and put you in the paper?" And a lot of the time they say no. I think a lot of people in Montauk just want to chill and they don't want to be in the paper, but a lot of people do. So we always get one each week.
Why do you think that is? They don't want to be in the paper.
I think that some people like to live a private life and they don't want their photo in the paper. Most people don't mind having their name, but their photo, that's kind of a different story.
How popular has this made you overall?
I think pretty much like everyone in my town, local towns knows about it. So I guess I've considered it potentially doing like a ditch like Miami or ditch Dallas or something, but
Very cool.
um it would be pretty much like I would be directing them on what to do, and then they would and then I wouldn't do any work with them, and I guess maybe we'd do like a profit share or something. But I don't know how serious these kids are of actually like putting that all together. I've had there was one in Memphis that they seemed that they were very serious about it, so it's potentially that we'll do it, but they might just start their own newspaper. Because honestly, like that for me, that's succeeding. If I can get kids together, say used to start their own newspaper, it doesn't matter if I'm getting any of the profits out of it.
I think what you've done is remarkable. How hard is it though that you have to push everybody every week? I mean, it sounds so easy with starting a newspaper.
That's one of the hardest parts, just having to, push people who don't want to be pushed, and then, you have to go see them in school, and it might alter your relationship with the person, but it's one of the sacrifices I have to make.
So when people tell you news is dead, what do you say?
I say it's not. I mean, news is not dead. Print might be, but even if you go on social media, you go on TikTok, Instagram, basically all of like the main reports are coming out from news channels first. And people don't realize they do get their news from like news channels. People get the notification first from the New York Times or Wall Street Journal, whatever it is.
Well, I know my father would have loved you. He won every award you could ever get writing for newspapers, from a Pulitzer down. And I know he'd look at a young guy like you and say, keep going. He'd love you. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, I
Awesome.
got one more question, Billy. I was just thinking because you said, you made a profit and everything. How do you do it? Do the reporters get paid? How do you work that
Yeah.
out?
Yeah, so basically everyone's freelance except for the partners. So reporters are paid $50 to $100 per article. Uh, some are paid for the whole summer if they do a column, so it'll be like 30 to 40 bucks a week. And then other people are paid for percentages. Like if they sell an ad, you get 10% of the sales of the ad. And so it makes people want to work harder. The more you do, the more you get. Obviously, that is of course how it is in everything. And then if there's a kid that works really hard all summer, maybe next summer he could be a partner, and that's where you make the real money.
There you go. That's what keeps him going. Before you're an entrepreneur doing it, you're a publisher, the editor, the writer, the visionary. A remarkable thing you've done. Excellent. I hope people are really proud of what you've done.
This summer was easier because of the New York Times article that came out. A lot of people were reaching out to us, but sometimes we'll run low during towards the end of the summer. That was happening a lot, and what we do is I'll look up like real estate listings and I call up all the real estate agents. I'll say, hey, I saw you with this listing in Montauk. Would you like to advertise it with us this week? Or I'll call businesses who, I see advertising in other local newspapers. Like I'll see like a pizza place that has the big full page in like a local newspaper. I'll call them up and say, hey, you want to advertise with us? I saw you had a full page in this newspaper, and that's a really good way of doing it. That way you don't take too much time on like the people who aren't going to advertise. And that was our problem at the beginning. When we first started getting advertisers, we walked around, me and my partner Harry walked around town everywhere trying to get someone to advertise with us, and we went to like probably 100 stores and like only 2 people did. So, but now it's like we have a much higher success rate because we know who to look out for.
Billy, one last thing. We did 2 people from the New York Times, Maureen Dowd and Dan Barry, 2 of their big superstar columnists, probably as big as you get for that paper. When the New York Times contacted you and you saw that, how did you feel thinking the largest newspaper in the world is looking for you?
So yeah, so first I got the email. It was probably in April. I was on the way home from school, and I thought it was a joke. I thought it was like one of my friends playing like a prank on me. So I looked up this person and I was like, wow, like this is real. So then I just started freaking out. I told my family. They're like, oh my God, like you shouldn't tell anyone about this. Like get this all coordinated and then maybe release it. But looking back, it was a lot of calling with this reporter, Callie Holterman. I mean, she was super nice, but I would call her like 3 times a week after school and for like an hour each time and just speak to her about this upcoming thing we were doing. She came out with a big crew and they did a bunch of interviews with us. It was very cool.
And when it came out and you saw yourself in the New York Times, did you think, oh man,
Oh yeah. And what was crazy, so I was on a train going back, and I got a text from her that she was releasing the article. And over the next 2 hours, my phone was like insane. I had to turn it off because like every time I would turn around, it would just be like a flutter of notifications coming in like every second from like texts from everyone I know, and then notifications about so many Instagram follows and this and that, whatever.
any big shot hustlers try to call you and try to, like, I don't know, try to get you in some sort of scheme?
Well, there was these 2 really good guys from a Hollywood production company who wanted to actually make a TV show with us, and
Uh-huh.
they're super serious. I mean, they called me all the time.
Uh-huh.
One of the guys actually came out from Los Angeles, and he had lunch with me and my dad just to talk it over and try to get it going. And like, he wanted to shoot a deck right there, but then they had to cancel because he said like it's almost impossible to shoot in Montauk. They just couldn't do it. But we were very close.
I don't know about that. We're pretty good at that. Um, yeah, no, I think you got some legs still with you. Oh, I hope you put some stuff out in the winter, maybe special editions. Who knows?
Maybe we might.
Billy, it's wonderful listening to you.
It's been
I'm so
amazing.
happy we finally hooked up.
Of course, yeah.
All right, well, listen, man, 1,000 thanks. Expect to hear more from you. Keep going. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. It was great speaking to you.
You're welcome, man.